For Creamer Media's Polity, I'm Motsabi Hwayane. Innovator Tony Lopes talks to Polity about his sustainable alternative energy sources and the inspiration behind it. How did your background as a construction project manager in mining and petrochemicals inspire you to start innovating on sustainable energy alternative sources of energy?
I worked in industry and the water treatment plants, petrochemical, mining, and I saw how much we actually waste and pollute and consume. And we use all these resources to create all these other products with all the pollution, and who's cleaning up all this whole environment? And we've still got problems in the world. People have got lack of means to cook their food or to heat up their water. And there are technologies available which don't need to use much energy. And that's how I got inspired to investigate this alternative. And because I come from an engineering background and I enjoy tinkering and taking things apart, and in some way I was going back to my engineering roots, because in construction project management you're mostly dealing with people problems and getting people to work with each other and costing. We've got to always make profits, and I felt I was wasting my engineering background qualifications, so that's how I got inspired. I basically got an old 100-litre steel drum, yes, and then it's turned upside down. That's the lid, and then I made a stand, and this is a plate, 5 millimeters, which I cut out the old steel drum first, and then I put the plate, and then I put some clay just to seal it. Then I made a little door, okay, and that's my little stove. This was developed in University of Zimbabwe in the early 80s. So it's a 20-litre paint tin, and then there's some adjustment here for more air or less air. Okay. And then you've got an inner cartridge with some holes. All right, and then this rests on a frame at the bottom, and then this goes on the inside, and then around inside here is a mixture of vermiculite and cement. Okay. 5 parts vermiculite, 1 part cement and water, and then it makes a very good conductor of heat. Okay. So as the air comes in, the cold air, it comes up the sides, and then it enters the holes, and then it lights up. Okay. So it's a much more efficient way of burning wood. This features secondary combustion as well. So it preheats the air coming in, because this keeps the air in, and it lights up those smoke gases as well. Okay. So I would say you use up to maybe half the amount of wood you would in a normal. Oh, yeah. And then this just slides underneath. I fill it with wood with a little bit of paraffin, and then I just light it from underneath there, put my match, close the door, and then that's it. At the back of this drum I've got a cutout which then takes up the gases, and it goes out the chimney. And then just a little temperature gauge to monitor how hot the system is. But with all these things, you've got to be responsible, because this is wood gas technology. If the wood is wet or it's green, then you're going to have a lot of smoke, and the fire is not going to burn so well. So you need to burn wood responsibly. So make sure it's dry. After 6 months, it's nice and brittle, and it burns much better. So then when the flame goes out, I then pull this out, and then what remains are red hot coals. And because of the insulation, it keeps all that heat in. And then I just take my little, and then I put my pot in here, and I can cook for another hour and a half. I've used mostly scrap materials, and I go to the second-hand places. So a drum like this will cost you, I'd say, in the region of about 90 Rand. Oh. But then it's the skills that are required to cut out the door, put the hinges, make sure it's flush, creating that box on the inside. Yeah. It's the skills, and that's what we lack in this country, the artisanal skills. I'm not a tradesman, but I've done it myself, and I've learned lots of lessons along the way. And so now I'm a semi-skilled boilermaker. Yes. And then the same with this little drum. This is at a scrapyard. The vermiculite and the cement, not so expensive. Vermiculite, you can get a big bag, which they use in the agricultural industry, for about 70 Rand. And that can make many stoves for you. The expensive bit is the inside. Okay. This cartridge. This cartridge alone would cost you in the region of about 100 Rand. And then you've just got to drill some holes. So again, it's the artisanal, the handwork that has to go in to create these things.
Have you encountered resistance in your mission to introduce these technologies into people's homes, and why?
There hasn't been resistance as such. People are very interested, they're very keen, especially from the cost perspective. But what happens is, because these technologies require you to slow down in your activities, preparing the wood to put into your wood stove, or before you leave for work in the morning, leave it in the solar oven. So it requires a mind shift, it requires changing your current habits. And that's where the resistance is, because we're all creatures of habit, and to change our normal habits, it takes a while. And there is nothing as convenient as electricity. We just flick a switch and we've got electricity.
How do you think communities can take ownership of these energy-efficient innovations and make them work to their advantage?
What we need is certain individuals that will champion and embrace these technologies and demonstrate them to the other people. The cost savings in terms of paraffin, and for those communities that don't have any access to electricity. And I think that's how we can slowly introduce this into the communities, because from my experience, it's not something that will take off suddenly.
You believe in putting back into the earth what we take out. Why do you think this outlook is important?
I'm going to live a certain number of years and then I'm going to move on. And I don't want to leave a messy place for the little ones that are coming into this earth. I want to leave them quite a nice environment. And so when I came across that Albert Einstein quote, it had a profound effect on me. Yes, we've got interesting new technologies coming up, which is using less and less, and even using waste products to create more energy. So we are very ingenious, we are very creative, but I still think we need to respect the earth. We need to consume less and have reverence for the resources that we have, because they are limited. They are going to eventually run out.
More broadly, how do you think tinkering with low-tech sustainable solutions could help enhance South Africa's current energy environment?
These low-tech solutions are using renewable energy resources. So we're using the sun, and we're using wood, which is a form of sun energy just stored in a piece of wood. And we've got an abundance within Johannesburg, for example, lots of trees where we can harvest some of that wood. But the kind of technologies that I'm displaying here, it can also benefit the trade skills, the boiler making skills, the carpentry skills, making up solar ovens, making up solar geysers for the pipe fitters, the plumbing field. So it could enhance, improve skills, and it could help alleviate the burden on Eskom's power demand. My electricity bill used to be in the region of 350 Rand, and now it's in the region of 100 Rand, because I'm using these low-tech sustainable technologies.
That was innovator and designer Tony Lopes talking about his low-tech energy innovations.